This video is for anyone who is aging or elderly, and I call it Caregiver Issues for Elderly Adults. What worries do adults of all ages, and especially elder adults, have about caregivers, needing a caregiver, finding a caregiver? I will tell you from my 20 years of experience that there are plenty of worries and plenty of needs, and I'm going to go through 5 tips here for talking about caregiver issues for elderly adults. It's for you if you are alone, even if you may not need a caregiver today, but you're thinking and you want to plan for the future. It's for you if you are married, or even if you have children and you're trying to figure out how does all this caregiving stuff work. I'm going to share tips about how to make a plan and deal with caregiving issues and things that you should think about if you don't know what questions you should be asking or you don't even know what you should think about. Tip number 1 is you can never pay too much attention to your health or the preventative aspects of health, no matter what your age is, whether you're 20 years old, 50 years old, 60 or 70. Because in a perfect world, healthcare education would begin when we are in grade school and continue through high school and throughout life, so that we know all of the issues that can arise with health and having poor health, maybe issues that we've seen with our parents or grandparents that we'd like to avoid, but we don't even know where to start. So the idea is we all want to be healthier in old age. To do that, we have to pay more attention when we are younger. Number 2, no matter how much money you save, healthcare expenses and costs are going to continue to get more and more expensive, and in many cases more and more unaffordable, making you wonder whether you saved enough money or thinking about how on earth am I going to pay for care when I run out of money. There's a lot of education about that, but it all goes back to staying healthy to minimize those healthcare expenses. And it goes back to consumers really taking control of healthcare, because on the other side, the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry, they make money off of sick people. They don't have an incentive to help us be healthier or to educate us. I wish they did. Number 3 in caregiving issues for the elderly is having someone that you fully trust, a spouse, children, a friend, or a professional who can offer you advice, advocate for you, and step in when you need that help. There may be a point where you need someone who is a power of attorney, whether medical or financial, to help you make healthcare decisions or to pay your bills if you can't do that. Don't wait like so many people do who think, well, I'm older, but I don't know anybody, and I guess, when something happens, I'll just figure out a way to deal with it. That is not the best way to do it, because sometimes other people can be involved or become involved, like county social services or adult protective services or the government. And while they're there to help, they can make some choices that you would not make for yourself if you had thought about this earlier and chosen somebody. So aging and needing care for all of us, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's all the planning and all the thinking about where and how to pay for care and how we're going to manage this. And having a plan today, talking about it today, is better than thinking about it's not going to happen to you and then it does and then you don't know where you are. Number 4 for this is look at where you live today or where you continue to live or where you think you're going to be living when you're 60, 70, or 80. And make sure that that home, condo, place is something that you can manage. If you have children that can help you, that's great. But eventually, a huge house, that house that you had your 6 kids in, that's 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, it's going to be too much for you to take care of if you're 70 or 80 or 90. So it's the idea of thinking about transitioning into older age, having less things, having an easier life, having property that you don't have to worry about who's going to shovel the snow this week or who's going to mow the lawn or, oh my gosh, those tree branches. It's the idea of planning ahead to be able to enjoy your life when you're older, which includes a lot of the things that we're talking about. And the last tip I want to talk about, which is very important, is ongoing medical care, which we often don't think about until we become sick. But ongoing medical care in the way of an annual checkup beginning when we're 20, 30, or 40 can help ward off a lot of these elderly caregiving issues when we're older. Also, just being open to changing health habits. I know doctors say quit smoking, lose weight, eat healthier, exercise, watch your cholesterol, your blood sugar, all of that. That really is good advice, but you have to understand why that advice is good and why it's valid and the short and long-term consequences. And I talk about this in many of my other videos and articles on my website. I'm Pamela D Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, a lot of support about aging, caregiving, health, family relationships, dealing with the healthcare system, and everything in between. Have a fabulous day today. I look forward to seeing you again soon in another of my videos.